Hey everyone, good morning. It's Zahava. Welcome back to the channel. I haven't been vlogging in a couple of weeks now. I have been sort of focusing on finishing up the October reads leading into November, and now we are at the beginning of November, and I think it's about time that I give you a vlog, at least what I'm hoping is going to be a vlog for this week. We are starting this off on a Monday, and we're going to see how we go for the rest of the week. So basically, we're just going to sort of start with what my plans are going to be for reading this week. I'm going to bring you up to date on what it is that I'm reading and what it is that I'm hoping to read, and yeah, just sort of see how the month is going. I'm just going to adjust the camera here a little bit. Okay, I know that you're not getting the books in the background, but I think it's more important that we just have a heart-to-heart. So here's the thing. I had picked up this book, Witchcraft: A History in 13 Trials, and I was really interested in reading it at the time, but since then, I don't know, I just sort of lost my mojo for it. So I'm actually going to return this book to the library unread because I just don't feel like reading nonfiction right now. And I really feel like if I'm going to be reading nonfiction, I have to be in the mood for it. Last month when we did the TBR Teapot, I selected a couple of memoirs. I think there was Memoirs of an Addicted Brain and The Year of Finding Memory by Judy Fong Bates. And I didn't get around to either of those because I have just not been in a nonfiction mood lately. It's been mystery thrillers really lately, and that's sort of where I feel that my mood is taking me. So I don't think that I'm going to be getting to some nonfiction for a while now. I also still haven't finished, if you follow me on Goodreads, you will know this, Alone on the Ice, which is the story of the late 1910s and early 1920s exploration of Antarctica by the Australian explorer team. I don't know if they had a particular name. If they do, I'll put it across the screen. But anyway, I haven't picked that book up since the beginning of October, maybe even the end of September. So I'm not doing so well with my nonfiction reads right now, which I realize. I just want to make sure the mic, I hope the mic is picking up sound. Let me see if I can readjust it a little bit. No, then it gets too floppy. Okay, we are not doing well. Okay, we're going to leave it there, which I realize is not maybe in the spirit of November, because I know that a lot of people tend to want to read nonfiction in November, but I'm just not jiving with nonfiction reads at this time. So I'm not going to be reading any nonfiction, I don't think, this month, but I am going to be focusing on reading mystery thrillers and potentially, well, at least for this week. I don't want to say this month, but I kind of lost my luster, and I know that like I said, I could always take it out of the library again, you know? I had just seen Ashley from The Answer Is Books finish reading a copy of this during her October reading challenge, where she was attempting to read like 31 books in 31 days. And I thought to myself, this would be a great read for the month of October. And I know that Ashley really enjoyed it. And I have no doubt that were I in a nonfiction mood, I would really enjoy this one as well. But I feel like it's a book that I might want to try on audio as opposed to reading with my eyes, because I think that sometimes when I read nonfiction with my eyes, it tends to remind me too much of school. And then I tend to nod off, and I don't want to nod off. I read the first chapter of this. I'm not going to consider it a DNF or even a soft DNF because it's just going to be a not for now. I think I will pick this one up on Audible because I'm considering resubscribing to Audible. That's been an idea that I've been toying around with for a few weeks now, because I originally couldn't really afford the subscription and I canceled it for a bunch of months, and Amazon picked up on that and they gave me an offer of 99 cents for the first 3 months, and then at that point it would renew automatically for $14.95 a month. And for some reason I want to say it was $17.95 a month, or used to be. Anyway, so I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I cannot get this book from my library on audio. And I really think that if I do read it, it will work a lot better for me on audio. So I guess I'm just going to return it to the library because I'm not really feeling it right now. So that's a bit of, you know, it's like I want to read it, but I'm just not feeling it right now. The other book I took out from the library, which I decided based on my current end table that is like stacked full of library books, which you guys probably already saw in previous videos, but I took out a whole bunch of middle grade books and I've sifted through them to the ones that I'm actually going to read or want to try. And I'm going to return one that I grabbed because it looked fresh and shiny on the bookshelf, and that is going to be Impossible Creatures. Now, I had picked this book up because I was at the library wanting to get more into middle grade, just, you know, to sort of clear my head, like how sometimes when life is really stressful and you just need to take a nice long drive into an area that potentially you've never explored yet. That's kind of how I was feeling when I walked into the middle grade section of the library, and I picked this book up because it was there and because it looked shiny and new, and I really have no desire to read it, so I don't even know why I picked it up aside from the fact that it looked like a shiny object to me, I guess. I don't even know how else to describe it. It must sound very silly, but I know I'm not going to read it, so I just I'm going to give it back to the library. And the other thing that I picked up at the library, which I forgot to show you guys in my last haul, which I think is my vlog number 38, where I talk about my November TBR. No, I'm mixing up my vlogs now. I think it's vlog 39, where I talk about sort of an unofficial November TBR. And I have a list of the library books that I picked up and we went through together. I actually forgot to show you one of these books, and that is The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. I did read The Spear Cuts Through Water, and I actually ended up DNFing that book way close to the end, but I looked up spoilers, so I'm going to consider that book not technically DNF'd, because I didn't want to read the last 150 pages of it, and I looked up spoilers, but I do know how it ends, so I'm going to consider it a read book. And I realized that The Spear Cuts Through Water is vastly different than The Vanished Birds, but when I was at the library, I saw that they had this one in stock, and I thought, since at the beginning of my booktube journey, I had put this one on my to be read list, but it's not a book that I want to force myself to read in the 3-week period that I have it on loan for. And it's a book that I could honestly wait another decade and not miss if I never read. I hear that it's very different than The Spear Cuts Through Water, but I just don't know if I want to read it right now. So I did keep it on my Amazon wish list to not forget that I wanted to read it, but it's going to go back to the library just in case somebody else wants it. There's no holds on it right now, but just in case, I'm going to bring it back because I know that I'm not going to read it. And I don't know when it was acquired. Actually, this library puts the year that they picked it up in the front. So it should be written somewhere. Yeah, so they've had this book since 2020. So it's definitely a book that I can take out again in the future if I wanted. But I just, you know how there's some books that you'd rather buy, keep on your shelf and read when the mood strikes you. And then there's some books that you get from the library and you think, okay, I have 3 weeks to read it and I'm going to read it. This is a book that I had 3 weeks to read. I already renewed it once. I'm not reading it. I just don't have, I don't want to. I lost interest in reading it. But, you know, if I come across a copy that I don't have to return or that I don't feel that there's pressure to read and then have to return, that will be a different story. So I may pick it up again at a later time, but I'm just trying to basically clear off my end table because it's creating a lot of mental clutter for me in terms of the books that I've taken out of the library that I want to read and the ones that I'm kind of feeling ambivalent about. And also because I've been taking out so many books from the library, I'm not getting to my physical TBR, which is kind of defeating the purpose of, well, not what we're trying to do here on this channel per se, but I'm not exactly working on, basically for the last half of the month of October and pretty much so far in the last 3 weeks, I have not read any books off of my physical TBR. They've all been library books or they've been audio books that I own copies of, but I haven't read any books from my physical TBR with my own eyes. And I'm starting to feel the weight of that, which is why we're having this discussion. So please let me know if you guys ever get yourselves into this type of situation because it's not over. Danny of Danny Dabbles was talking about the language of ghosts. So I did put a hold on this one at the library. That just came in. This is a middle grade. So currently I am reading The Eye of the Crow, which is a boy Sherlock Holmes mystery. This is one in a series of 6 or 7, and it's a Canadian author. I can't remember if I mentioned that already, but he also writes a couple of books for adults, which I put a hold on at the library as well because I kind of want to see the difference. So you can see where this is going, right? So I took out this book. I'm currently reading this book. I feel like middle grade books might be good for me for the month of November, especially since I'm not going to be reading the nonfiction books. I'm basically just trying to clear my desk. I think that that's where we are. We're trying to clear the end table of the TBR. What else is there? Okay, so we said that we are returning this one to the library, right? So I'm going to take it off the couch because I'm actually confusing myself. I'm going to be returning this one to the library. Those go to the same library. Because I have books from different libraries. And this one is going to the Mont-Royal library. So that's going to go to a different library. So maybe I will keep the piles separate. Okay, these two we've decided I'm keeping and reading, or at least I'm going to try this one because it came recommended by Danny. And I have disagreed with Danny before on certain books. But I do like to follow up on her suggestions. So yeah. Okay, then also I had a copy of the Twyford Code, which is going to be the second Janice Hallett that I've taken out of the library, or the second of her works that I've read or am reading or want to read. Anyway, it's my second book by her. So I would like to read this as well. This one takes some getting used to because of the colloquial way in which it is written. It's written because the protagonist, the main protagonist, actually is an illiterate character. So he writes phonetically, which is very interesting, and then your brain has to sort of recode how the prose is written. Anyway, it's very interesting. So this is definitely going to be one that I'm going to be reading this month. And I still have not made any progress in the Rain and Ruin, which was suggested by Allison of Allison Talks Books when she did her video on, she did like a video collab with Chess of Chess's Book Nook. And I watch a lot of other booktubers, as you guys can tell, but she suggested this, and I'm feeling like it might be a little too politically heavy for me. As I've said in a previous vlog, I've just read the first chapter. I would like to try and read maybe 3-4 chapters before I see if I get a feel for this book or not, because the first chapter, it's really exposition heavy and it's kind of not making me want to pick it up again. So I'm trying not to jump the gun by returning this book too early. I would like to give it a fair shot. It's supposed to be a romantasy, but I think it's more of like a slow burn situation. So you guys know how I feel about romantasy. I'll try it, but there are more misses than hits, you know, in my experience. But I'm going to try and stick this one out. And then lastly, there was Quality Land, which I really want to read, but I know I just don't have time for. So this is going to be like a satire, sci-fi type novel. I do have it on my Amazon wish list, but it's another book that I feel like I could wait a few years and read at a later time when I have more time. So since I'm going to be going out to run some errands later today after we film this vlog, I think I'm just going to go ahead and return a whole bunch of these books to the library, drop off my mail, and then I think the plan for today is just to come home and read afterwards and just continue sort of vlogging with you guys throughout the week. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. So cleaning up the desk, it's not really a desk, it's the end table that's over here, trying to purge it of books that I know I realistically, like, I'm full of good intentions, but really don't have the time to read right now. And yeah, I think that that's going to be the plan. So I'm glad that you're here because you guys really hold me accountable for a lot of things, and you help me because I'm actually talking to somebody. That's how valuable you are to me. I'm talking to somebody so that I don't have to sit and have these conversations like a Looney Tunes by myself. So anyway, we'll start with that, and then I will catch up to you guys a little bit later. Oh, and before I go, I wanted to say that The Eye of the Crow, this is that middle grade Sherlock Holmesian, he's 13 years old when you meet him in this novel. This author is really good. This author is so strong. I haven't read that much of the book, but the chapter one, I don't know how many pages in I am. Yeah, so I'm on chapter 2, but I really enjoy this author's writing. There's something about it that is extremely inviting. And also the middle grade is working for me, I think. Just because it's really straight to the point. Like, they're not concerned with superfluous vocabulary and, you know, fluffing things up and extra details, because middle graders just don't have the patience for that. And I'm thinking that maybe this is a subgenre that will work for me. I like this. And I could see myself continuing in it if it doesn't lose its momentum. So anyway, these are just my original thoughts, but I will definitely be getting back to you guys on this one because that's going to be the plan for the day. Now, you guys can't see, but because you're sitting on it, The Witches of New York by Amy McKay. I still haven't started that one yet. I'll put a picture up next to me on the screen so you can see what the cover of that book looks like. I did renew it. I'm hanging on to it for a little while longer. I can renew it 3 times. Then I have to bring it back. But if there's no holds on it, the librarian can just check it right out to me again, and then I can renew it another 3 times. I don't know why I'm hanging on to it. I don't know why. I have very good intentions of reading this book as well. But yeah, that's where we are. Okay, so enough talking, and I will see you guys again when I get back from running my errands and when I have more to report to you on. It's probably gonna be a couch vlog. Yeah, I'll try and change up the background for you if I can and film from somewhere else. Anyway, all right, I'll talk to you soon. All right, so I'm in the car and I'm just about to take off to go and return those library books, which made me remember that we are in a new month, which means that my library subscription includes 4 instant borrow titles from Hoopla. So there are going to be some audiobooks that I am able to get on Hoopla, and I was thinking, although I didn't check it yet, but I would try and find see if I could find that witchcraft book on Hoopla maybe. So that's something I'm going to have to check out later, but for now I'm just going to head out, run my errands, and yeah, I'm going to pick up probably some new library books if we're honest, so we'll see.
The next day.
Heyo, so we are the next day, and you can tell because I'm not wearing the same t-shirt as I was yesterday. But I just wanted to catch you guys up since I didn't go back to the vlog yesterday. I had some other things going on, but basically I managed to get to the library. There were 2 libraries. I returned books. I did not pick up any other ones, to my credit. Pat, pat, pat. My end table has thus been reduced to only 6 library books and 1, 2, 3 that I was supposed to read last month or even in the month of September that are on my physical TBR that I just either didn't continue or haven't finished yet or didn't start yet. So they're just sitting there keeping the end table warm for now. But I also wanted to mention that it was very apropos that I returned Witchcraft, A History in 13 Trials, because Ashley of the Answers Books had just finished talking about having read that book. And I think that Ashley did it on audio because when I commented on her video saying that I had that one on my physical TBR, like as a library read, she said to me she's not sure how it's gonna go as reading with your eyes. And I was like, yeah, I kind of got that feeling too, which is why I returned it. And I was going to try and get it on audio. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to plan to do with that book. But I don't know when I'm going to get to it because I did check all my libraries, including the Hoopla catalog, and nobody has that one on audio right now. And I'm not a member of Libro FM, but I could resubscribe to Audible. So anyway, I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I really, as I said before, was not feeling nonfiction right now. So I wanted to check up with you guys on The Eye of the Crow. And I want to say a few things about this book. First of all, it is not reading like a middle grade novel, or at least not how I think a middle grade novel should be reading. I am finding the prose to be very sophisticated in this one. The tone is very dark. Yes, your protagonist is 13-year-old Holmes. You get a little bit of a family background. His mother has fallen from grace, I guess. I don't know. The father is Jewish, the mother is a Gentile, and she came from money. And when she married Holmes's father, the family disowned her, basically. So they're living in poverty in a really poor area of London. And Holmes is truant because he's getting bullied at school. And so he doesn't always show up when he's meant to. And his father, who was a very well-educated Jew, can't get a job because of his wife's well, I guess his father-in-law, even though they've been disowned by the wife's family, he's pretty much just bad talked him to everyone. So the parents cannot get jobs anywhere, and that's why they're poor. And Holmes is, because he's not going to school, is spending his time on the streets, learning about the streets of London, running away from neighborhood bullies and truant officers and people that will tell his parents that he's been skipping school and stuff like that. And like his favorite thing to do is to pick up the illustrated police broadsheets that are out there. And I'm only about like 35, 40 pages into the novel at this point, and I think it's about 230 pages in total. So one of the broadsheet headlines has to do with a murder that happened within the 24 hours before we're introduced to this part in the chronicle. And an Arab boy, has been arrested for the murder, and Holmes naturally thinks that perhaps this Arab boy is innocent. The boy is a few years older than him, so if Holmes is 13, maybe the boy is 16, 17, 18 years old. Is not really specified this early in the book. But Holmes does say that the boy looked to be about his age or a little bit older. So he's thinking that maybe the Arab boy is not, in fact, the murderer. He's been wrongly accused. Of course, the authorities want the boy to swing for it. So yeah, that's where we are in this book so far. And again, the language, prose, tone, pacing, everything feels to me like this could really have been written for an adult audience. And I think it's probably not the way most middle grade books are written. And I will be able to tell you more about that when I get more into the middle grade books that I've put aside for this month. But I'm feeling like if this were a book that were written for adults, that would not surprise me the way that it's written. You know, like any adult could pick up this book and just be totally swept into the story. And the bonus of that is that it's 100 pages shorter than most stories would be were they written for an adult audience. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm enjoying my time in it so far. Chapters are pretty short, 3-4 pages each, no more than 5, and I'm hoping to be able to finish this book today. Also on audio, I've been reading Paladin's Hope, which is the story of Galen. It's number 3 in the Saint of Steel series, and he is working with a lich doctor in order to discover some grisly murders that have been popping up in Archon. It's like the same world as the Temple of the White Rat, and we're following Galen, who is a paladin that we've seen in the previous 2 books, which are Paladin's Grace and Paladin's Strength. And again, I'm doing this book on audio. It's going well so far. I'm about 42% of the way in, but the last book, which is Paladin's Faith, I'm not able to find in any of the libraries on audio. So again, it might be one that I'll have to read with my eyes, but you know, trying to read a Tea Kingfisher is not exactly a torturous affair. It usually goes pretty well. I don't know if I'll do it this month, possibly in the month of December. Now, you guys, if you were here for the 1 year celebration. I don't know if it's a celebration, but I put out a video as celebrating me celebrating my last year on YouTube. Some of you guys were wondering if I was ever going to get to some more Brandon Sanderson, because if you've been following me for a while, you will know that the one and only Brandon Sanderson I've ever read was Elantris, and that one I didn't actually read. Tried to read it in a mass market paperback format in 2013, abandoned it, and then went back through audio, through graphic audio on the Audible platform, and I read through parts 1, 2, and 3 on that through graphic audio on Audible, and I really, really enjoyed Elantris that way. So anyway, if you've been watching my videos, then you will also know that I was very lucky to find, for a grand total of $6, the first 3 books in the Mistborn trilogy in trade paperback format. So someone had asked me in a previous video if I was going to get to Brandon Sanderson this year. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but it's definitely going to be on the roster for 2026, because I do have an audio hold at one of my libraries, and the one time that it was ready for me on audio, I had too many things going on, so I had to actually abandon the hold and then re-reserve it. But now I have the books as well. So I might be able to do some immersion reading, which I think I might like to do with Mistborn, and then I'm going to see about the other 2, how they go. But I am going to do some more Brandon Sanderson in 2026, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be upcoming, because I'm really, really late to the game. I've been reading fantasy about 25, 30 years now. Sorry, I just had to go answer the door. My father was coming by to drop off some packages that have to go and be mailed. Anyway, so like I was saying, I am going to get to Brandon Sanderson. It is the plan for 2026. I have not read The Way of Kings, but you guys, if you're seasoned Brandon Sanderson fans, could you please tell me, is there a certain reading order? Because I know that I think Elantris was his first book ever. And then I don't know if it's Mistborn that you have to read first, or if you have to read The Way of Kings, Stormlight Archive, is it called? I think so. So I don't know exactly which order you need to be reading them in, but I would like to get to Mistborn sooner than later. And whenever my audio holds comes in, I'm probably going to try and do some immersion reading, which, if you guys don't know what that is, because you're new to my channel or new to BookTube or to the term, it's just basically listening to the book and following it along with your eyes in a physical copy. So yeah, that's going to be the plan. I'm going to try and make some more progress in this today. This book here, you guys, it's like haunting me. I don't think I want to read it, honestly. I'm looking at it and I don't know, maybe it's just the cover, maybe it doesn't look that interesting. I still haven't made it past the first chapter. It's not, I really don't think I want to read this. I don't know why. I do have good intentions. I do want to give it like a little more of a shot and maybe read 1 or 2 more chapters in it, but just based on the density of the first chapter alone, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I just really don't want to read it. It's like really bad. So I went to the library where I borrowed this from yesterday, and I left this one here to maybe give it another shot, but like every time I look at it, I'm just not interested. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I read, okay, the first chapter was a good like 10 pages. So it's not like because I'm just looking at it now. The first chapter was a good 10 pages and stuff, but I don't know if I want to give this any more of my time. The second chapter is not that long. It goes from, it's only like 6 pages. So I don't know what to do. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't want to read this. So it's like really bad right now. Anyway, okay. We'll check back with you guys and let you know what I decided. And yeah, just sort of keep going with reading, because that's what we're here to do. Yeah, I'm not getting any reading done right now. I'm like lying down. Do you see this? I was reading, but I can't read anymore because
One eternity later.
Hey you guys, so it is the next day and I, like you, am tired of couch vlog. So I just want to bring you up to speed really quickly as to where I am with my reading and my reading plans for the rest of the week. Today we are Thursday. We started this vlog on a Monday and I don't think I'm going to be vlogging over tomorrow and the weekend because we have a pretty busy weekend scheduled and I would like to spend a lot of that time actually concentrating on finishing books this time, okay? So yesterday Addison had a doctor's appointment that I had to take her to, and we left the house a little bit early so we could do some shopping and run a few errands. And I ended up at the library killing some time while I was waiting for a particular office to open. So anyway, I picked up a couple of books that I saw were there with absolutely zero intentions of reading them. I think it was just because I saw them there and they were on the shelf, like not even on display where like newer books would be displayed, but they were actually in the shelves, like in the library stacks. And the first one is The Library of the Dead and the second one is The Wedding People. And I don't know if I'm gonna get to them or not. They were just there. I was looking for something to do and yeah, I picked them up. So I'm not necessarily committing to reading either one or both of those. It's just something that caught my interest. Maybe I'll start them, maybe I won't, I'll see. But I have them for at least 3 weeks and I'll probably be able to renew them because they were on the shelves, which means that nobody had them reserved. Anyway, so there's that. Now, The Eye of the Crow. I'm going to DNF this book. I'm 144 pages of the way in and it just fell flat for me about 40 pages ago. By the time I got to the 100-page mark, I was tired of reading the story. I didn't want to pick it up. It seems like, I don't know, it just kind of lost its luster for me and I feel like that's happening a lot to me lately and I don't know if that can be considered a reading slump. Maybe it is. You guys can let me know in the comments, but I feel like sometimes books start out for me really, really strong and I have this initial inertia that sweeps me off my feet and I get going with the book and I say, oh, it's great. And then I get on a vlog and I report to you, oh, the book is great. I'm having a great time in it, yada, yada. And then I don't know, it just kind of plateaus and it stays at this plateau and then the plateau becomes sort of mundane and then I just don't want to pick up the book anymore. And this happens to me a lot in adult novels. And as it turns out, it also happens to me in middle grade novels. So I still haven't started The Language of Ghosts or The Mostly True Story of Jack. I did return one of the Kelly Barnhill books that I had showed you guys before, something to do with a witch, because The Girl Who Drank the Moon became available on audio and I know that it is a beloved middle grade story and I know that Danny of Danny Dabbles has really promoted that book on her channel, so I think that if I had to choose between the Kelly Barnhills that I'm going to be reading this month, I would prefer to do it on audio just because my life tends to lend more to consuming audiobooks these days because I don't know, it's Christmas time, you know, like it's November, December. It's usually very busy, very hectic for a lot of people. So if I'm going to be doing reading, most of my books are going to be consumed on audio. So I'm going to be listening to The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and I returned that witch one from Kelly Barnhill, whose title I don't remember right now, but that one is back at the library. I still have hung on to The Mostly True Story of Jack, and I read a couple of pages of that, and I want to see where that one goes. Maybe because it's Kelly Barnhill, and I like her writing, and I've read from her before and completed one of her books at least. I will try and finish that one. But this one, yeah, it lost its luster for me. And I think that it's gonna be a DNF because I just don't really care what happens. So there's that. I made some progress in the Twyford Code, but that's on my nightstand in my bedroom, so I'm not gonna pick it up. I finished Paladin's Hope, which was good. And I gave that one 5 stars. So I'll talk to you guys more about that one at the November reading wrap up, but I had a really great time with that one. And I think the book that I'm listening to now on audio, I started it this morning, is Room by Emma Donoghue. Now that one's a bit of an older one. That was published in 2010 and I'm only just getting around to it now. So if you guys feel like you're always late to the party, I'm right along there with you. I am always late to the party. I don't necessarily, I sort of went like underground for many years while I was sort of surviving there were a few years where I didn't do a lot of reading because I was, busy. The kids were very young and I was raising them. And then there was a period of transition when I left my ex-husband and, got settled with Eric and stuff. So there were a few years, we'll call them the dark years, like the dark ages, the dark years, we'll call them that, where I didn't do a lot of reading because I just didn't have the luxury of time to be able to do a lot of reading. And it really wasn't a budgetary thing because, as you know, I utilize my library a lot and you could always use your library if you're like having budgetary constraints and stuff. But I didn't really have a lot of time to do reading at that point. So I'm also like catching up with a lot of coughing. So I'm also catching up these days with a lot of books that I missed during the, let's say, last 10 or so years, last 15 years. So yeah, I'm catching up to that. So don't feel like you're missing out on things, or don't feel at least as if you're alone if you've missed out on a lot of things. Yeah, so I started listening to Room, which I also borrowed from my library, and that one came as a bit of a shock because I was not expecting, I don't know why I wasn't expecting this, but like the character that you're introduced to, whose name is Jack, is a 5-year-old boy, and the narrator that plays Jack in the audiobook has a super high-pitched voice. And I don't know why that came as a shock to me because, hello, it's a 5-year-old kid. So normally he shouldn't sound like an adult talking, right, if it's a kid. So I don't know exactly who's voicing Jack on the audio version of Room, but I was a little bit like taken aback by the high pitch of the voice. So like that is going to take some getting used to. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, and Book Outlet started their Black Friday sale early, and oh my God, is their catalog ever disappointing. So I logged on to the website yesterday to see if there were any books that I would be interested in purchasing, aside from The Chilling Effect, which no libraries seem to have, and I can't find used copies of anywhere. And it's sort of like, it's not a must read for me, but if I found it at a good price, I would pick it up and read it because I hear people talking about it a lot, but they only had 2 copies, and every time that book is in stock, I can't seem to find anything else to make my $50 ship-free minimum. So I was spending time on the website yesterday trying to look for books to buy, even though I'm not really officially on a book buying ban, but I couldn't find anything. All of this is to say that their catalog is really crappy right now. Like there is nothing at Book Outlet that I have been remotely interested in picking up. So that's kind of a bummer for me, but that doesn't mean that you won't find something if you want to check out. So if you're in the US, their fiction sale is on now. It's $5.99 per title for adult fiction. And if you're in Canada, it's $7.99 per title, and that's paperback, hardcover. But again, like I couldn't find anything that I particularly liked. However, if you guys are interested in buying anything, I do have an affiliate link or coupon code referral link. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I think it's a referral link that I have down in the description below that you guys could check out. And if you use that referral link, they'll send you a $5 credit, and I will also get a $5 credit. So I would love if you could help to support the channel in this way and, you know, my book buying habit in this way. Even though I might not spend the money right away, I'll hoard it up, and, you know, you get points and you can spend your points a little later down the line. They never expire. So anyway, I'm going to close off the vlog here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for these last 4 days while things have been a little hectic and we've had a lot of like talking heads. Try not to do that too much to you guys, but sometimes I'm feeling really chatty, and this is one of those weeks where I'm like in my head. Maybe it's the full moon, maybe because I'm a Cancer zodiac, I don't know, but the full moon does affect me. I always wax poetic at that time. I lose sleep. Actually, yesterday I went to bed at 10 to 6 p.m. because I was so zonked from like the last couple of weeks. My mom is actually in rehab, well, physical rehab, because she had a fall when she was walking and she broke the toe on her right foot and fractured that ankle. And then on the left foot, she has a sprain and she had a swelling the size of a golf ball. So anyway, she was in the hospital emergency in the hallway for like 2 days before they finally gave her a shared room. And she stayed there for a little over a week, and then they moved her to a rehab center. So anyway, my mom has been going through some stuff, and I, of course, have been there to visit her, support her, all of that. My son's been going through some. My son had a work accident. He's fine. He's fine. But there were some issues with him as well, where I had to take him for x-rays. And my daughter also is going through some medical issues. So I've just been running around with everybody, tending to their needs. And it's just been like a really crazy 2 weeks. And it's kind of making me want to, I guess, talk to people, because you guys are my outlet, but you're getting it in the form of books, in terms of the content. So anyway, thanks again for hanging out and being here when you could literally be anywhere else on this planet, but you're choosing to be here, which makes you amazing. I love you all so much. Thanks again. Check out the links below in the description for any books that you might want to purchase, or, you know, that Book Outlet coupon if you guys don't want to miss the sale. It's probably still going on by the time you see this video. And I will see you again in the next one. Ciao for now.